Imagine you are out hunting and this happens.
Police! Get back here right now! Right now!
This actually happened to me when I had a bad interaction.
You guys call in?
I did.
I was detained.
Talk this officer real quick.
My shotguns were taken from my kayak and put in the back of a police car. Nothing shared here should be considered legal advice. Remember, I have this thing that when people look at me, sometimes their first thought is,
It's the first time in my life I've ever seen something so stupid.
so don't take your advice from me. And be sure to subscribe because I have more coming out on this. Before we look into the legalities of the detainment, let's turn our attention to the accusers.
So we're good to go here. We're not leaving. We're waiting for FWC, but
I thought if you WC meaning to be gone, but
oh, yeah, yep. But it oddly enough, it looks like what he's doing might not be illegal.
They
So
all
he has
look
all the
shocked.
licenses. It's migratory bird season. It's hunting Canadian geese, and those are Canadian geese in his.
The only time, like, we live on the water and somebody right across from us.
This sounds like
just
an
to make
entirely
this go
different
away. And they came out and
situation
they said
unrelated to this.
hunt migratory birds.
When it's
When
not
it's-
migratory bird season.
yeah.
Can he
But
shoot
it is.
next to somebody's house like that?
So FWC is going to be the judge of that,
I'm
but
sure
How-
they'll take a
the
good.
this is an
last
open public waterway. So
The-
we're working on that part now.
Don't you have to be so far from the home?
Are you asking
Well,
because
this
you don't
happened about
know?
3 months ago.
I
Why
have
would
so
you
much
call
else
then?
that I have to
Yeah.
know in the law. I
Yeah.
don't know that specific when you look at an open waterway and
Yeah.
all that. So I don't know. But FWC is going to come out. I was just. Did you guys call in?
I did.
I got him to pick
Okay.
up.
So
Yeah.
we'll pass all that information along to FWC. That way you guys don't have to hang out here.
Okay.
We don't know how long it's going
It
to take.
sounds like the officer
We're
is
gonna
trying to
hang out
avoid
until-
even hearing this
until they get
story.
here. So I was just going to let y'all know. You can
She's
go
going to
if you
make
want.
him hear it.
Yeah, it happened about 3 months ago. It was the first time in my life I've ever seen something so stupid. A woman and a man and their small
Something
child.
that happened 3 months ago seems
But they were
irrelevant to the
given
present
a ticket
situation.
for discharging a weapon within.
Yeah.
She is probably referring to this statue right here. But do you see this sentence right here? It says, "This section does not apply to a person lawfully defending life or property or performing official duties requiring the discharge of a firearm, or to a person discharging a firearm on public roads or properties expressly approved for hunting by the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission or Florida Forest Service." Let's see what FWC has to say about this. This is FWC's Where to Hunt page. Here it says, waterfowl hunting is permitted on private property with landowner permission and on any body of water that has public access. There are some exceptions that don't apply in this situation.
Whatever.
And that might end up being the case for him, but
So
we're gonna
I
let
don't believe her
FWC
story
take care of
here.
all of that, and they're coming out right now. So
Okay.
We'll
Is
just-
there any way to get a report once it's done and find out what
you can
happened?
request it through FWC, and I'll give them your information from.
Okay.
I'll give everyone who called in's information, and then they will finish it up from there if they
we
write
was
one.
just
Feeding the cats.
feeding the cats in the park.
They were just feeding the cats in the park. That brings me to my next point. These are the signs that someone would see when they enter this boat ramp. Notice it says here that feeding of cats and animals is prohibited on public property and private property without written permission of the landowner. Violations are subject to a minimum $300 fine. Do these laws not apply to these people? Then over here you'll see this rabies alert message which indicates that there's rabid animals in the area. This rabies alert was posted by the Florida Health Department. Here we have a copy of the Florida Health Department's rabies fact sheet. Here it says that to prevent rabies, people should never feed wild or stray animals. I'm glad to see they're doing their part. This is what their cat feeding operation looks like.
if they write
was
one.
just
Feeding the cats.
feeding the cats in the park. So, but
Okay.
I was amazed when I saw them, one over each shoulder.
Yeah,
Walking
walking
to
to
the
Well,
his
I'm a bit
dog.
amazed to myself.
So the people and the police officer are amazed to watch a person carrying firearms walking to the dock. Now we get to the fun part. If you've seen the original videos, maybe you remember this scene.
Yes, 427, 1026.
I'm going to be very clear with you. Do not reach for either of those guns.
I do have a hunting license. I was engaged in lawful hunting activity
All right. We're going to come discuss that here in a second, okay?
Or this one.
But I'd like to state that I was engaged in lawful hunting activity and the license is on my vessel now.
Okay.
And this one.
So what are you doing here today?
I'm engaged in lawful hunting activity.
Okay.
So why does this phrase keep coming up? The answer lies in Florida Statute 790.25. This statute outlines the lawful ownership, possession, and use of firearms. Subsection 2 details the lawful use of firearms and basically grants permission if any of the following conditions apply. One of these conditions is in paragraph H, where it says a person engaged in fishing, camping, or lawful hunting, or going to or returning from a fishing, camping, or lawful hunting expedition.
I was amazed when I saw them, one over each shoulder.
Yeah,
Walking
walking
to
to
the
Well,
his
I'm a bit
dog.
amazed to myself.
I
I have a hunting license. I was engaged in lawful hunting activity. But I'd like to state that I was engaged in lawful hunting activity.
So what are you doing here today?
I'm engaged in lawful hunting activity.
was amazed.
A bit amazed to myself.
Well,
I've-
you should hear that gun. It's not
Well-
even like a shotgun or a...
He's got a bird hunting gun. It's everything that he's doing, aside
like-
from the craziness of it, is pretty legit. It's the crazy part that has me, and that's the part we're working on right now.
I'm curious to
But
know
the
what this
guns
crazy
are the
part
right kind of
is. It
guns for
sounds
what
like
he's doing. He's got
it's pretty
the right
legit.
kind of ammo for what he's doing. He's got the right licensing for what he's doing. He's,
But
he's
you
got
should not own my son's
first shot.
property.
that's
He's
what.
shooting a first shot.
Yeah, FWC is going to need to figure that part out. We're not educated enough in that part of it. We got enough shootings on this side of the water
Yeah.
to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
Well,
he's
if-
coming
if-
right up at people's property. I mean, he's right on the coastline coming up where he has to circle, like,
That
Near
guy-
that
like
guy's
the neighbor.
dog. He was right up on that guy's dog.
Yeah.
Like
And I'm
he's-
not
he's
sure-
about on personal
and I'm not
property
sure
like
where on the water line
Yeah.
that's considered, because if he's in his kayak and shooting into the water, I don't know that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? I don't
Out
want
of the
to.
range.
I don't want to.
Did you catch that? I just heard a statement from her that I believe is true.
Right? I don't want to. I don't want to just. Right? I don't want to. I don't want to just. Right? I don't want to. I don't want to just.
Maybe she should research that and realize that shotgun shooting birdshot do not have a very effective range.
Right? I don't want to. I don't want to just tell y'all.
I
You know,
guess that guy and his wife hit the deck because they were
Yeah,
worried.
Well,
their house is on a corner, and so their door is real close to the water. Like, when it flooded the last time, it came into the house. And you hear this boom, and that dude is right there. I mean, from here to, like, that fence is where this guy is at with that gun.
yeah.
And, you know, the last guy that did it, though, he must have had, like, it was like a shotgun. It wasn't loud like that, but there's these little pellets.
A quiet
Ricochet,
shotgun?
One hit somebody's boat.
I don't know what to think of this story.
Screaming because the kids are out back, and, like, I just don't understand.
Yeah. Well, FWC will deal with it however they think, however the law says they're supposed to. So I just wanted to come let y'all know
All right,
you're
I
on the.
appreciate it.
I'll pass on the info.
Saves your health.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to give their information to FWC, and then they'll deal with that.
I just don't want to see her get away because
Well, she's. I mean, FWC,
I know at this point you're probably wondering if she did get away.
Her number, her information's in. She called.
While it would be easy to answer with just a yes or a no, I think that there's a lot of backstory to understand before we get to that. So look at these photos. You might notice that I did not take these photos. Where did they come from? Here's the post she made on Nextdoor. So much of what she's saying in the comments is just lies. Take a look at this. She replied to a comment saying,
Police were called and met us at the boat ramp. Apparently, it's hunting season and he had all the required documents. The officer didn't know how to proceed, and when wildlife said hunting isn't a crime, he let him go. I spoke to someone at the police department who said, yes, it is illegal to discharge a weapon here, but this officer didn't know how it applied. The last time it happened, they were ticketed. FYI, he went back out on the creek with his guns, and JSO said if he's seen again, call, and they will ticket him.
Did I miss the part in my body camera footage that if he's seen again to call? Because I never saw anything about that. Is she just trying to encourage the neighborhood to continue to harass me? Here again, she replied to a comment with a lie.
JSO agreed, hunting is legal, but shooting in proximity to homes is not.
That's not what the body camera footage indicates.
Everything that he's doing, aside from the craziness of it, is pretty legit. But the guns are the right kind of guns for what he's doing. He's got the right kind of ammo for what he's doing. He's got the right licensing for what he's doing.
He was right up on that guy's dog.
Like
and I'm not sure.
Come out on purpose.
And I'm not sure where on the water line that's considered. Because if he's in his kayak and shooting into the water, I don't know that. I don't know. Right? I don't want to just tell y'all.
She made this post that same day after she left the boat ramp.
Maybe our CCR.
What happened to me was that they gave me back my guns.
While he's gathering that information, I'll give you your guns back. But I didn't realize that at first, so I just untied it.
This officer can't believe it. So I went back out onto the water. You may recall something that was said in the original video.
Now, I do have a crippled animal over there. I have a crippled animal up there that this interfered with me being able to adequately pursue.
So I ventured back out onto the water. I searched diligently for this wounded goose. I eventually did find it, but it was on private property and it was in a spot where I was unable to engage. I tried to lure it out with my decoys and calls. Then it disappeared into the bushes. So that goose was lost. However, a group of geese did cross my path on the water. With the sound of that shotgun blast, I did two things. I took the biggest goose that I've ever taken in my life, as shown here, but it also sent a clear message to everyone who accused me that I'm still standing. Their plan had failed. But this story doesn't end here. Soon after, a trip to this same spot brought 4 geese. I know you're wondering if I had any negative interactions during this trip. Somebody may have called the law, as there was a sheriff deputy at the boat ramp waiting for us. However, this interaction was not bad. There was actually a FWC officer there with them, and it was the FWC officer that handled the entire interaction. This FWC officer was very professional. She checked my licenses, she checked my firearms, and everything checked out, no trouble. It was at this point that I made a report to FWC about the lady in pink. I was able to identify her based on having her license plate number in a video that I recorded on my phone. While the FWC officer agreed that it was in fact hunter harassment, she said that she would not be able to press charges because she did not witness it in person. I know that sucks. Still, this FWC officer said she was going to visit this individual at her house and let her know that she can't be harassing hunters who are on the water. But this story still isn't over yet. You may have noticed that my interaction with the officers was of a peaceful manner, it was of a kind manner, and that's because at the scene of the incident is not the time to try and fight the situation. At the scene, I attempt to de-escalate the situation. If you have this kind of interaction, you can challenge it after the fact. But during the scene of the incident is the time to remain calm.
81648.
And what's your badge number?
78498.
I appreciate it, fellas.
All right.
You guys have a wonderful day and stay safe.
You too.
It is after the fact that you can follow up with whatever you're going to file. This is the formal complaint that I filed regarding this incident. The complaint states,
on the date in question, I was unlawfully detained without probable cause of a crime. I was engaged in lawful waterfowl hunting on a waterway which is legal for waterfowl hunting. The immediate circumstances in which the officers encountered me were 1. Occurred during the normal waterfowl hunting season, 2. On a waterway on which waterfowl hunting is legal, 3. Observable evidence supports the fact that I am waterfowl hunting due to the fact that 2 Canada geese and waterfowl decoys were unmistakably visible on board my kayak. 4. Upon making initial contact, I stated, I do have a hunting license. I was engaged in lawful hunting activity on a public waterway. 5. The officer who made the initial contact was also informed that I had a crippled animal nearby. Despite these factors which negate any notion of probable cause of a crime, I was still ordered to navigate my vessel to a dock, tie my vessel up, and remove myself from my vessel into JSO custody. I was unable to leave while they were investigating. Because the JSO officers reasonably knew that I was engaged in hunting given the circumstances, and because they were informed that I had a wounded animal, and because the Florida hunting regulations prohibit the wanton waste of migratory game birds, meaning hunters have a duty to attempt to retrieve wounded game birds. The officers involved were interfering with a lawful hunt in violation of Florida Statute 379.105. Officer Gutcher seized my firearms, which were being used for lawful hunting purposes. My firearms were placed in the back of JSO Vehicle 1704. On the body-worn camera footage of the officers involved, Officer Gutcher can be heard saying to Officer Rickardson, I don't know that he's wrong. This affirms that I was being detained without probable cause. At various times during this interaction, I stated to the JSO officers involved that I would like to press charges against an individual for hunter harassment. Officer Gutcher informed me that it had to be FWC which enforced hunter harassment. However, Florida Statute 379.33 allows for JSO to enforce. It should be noted that prior to my being detained, I had made a call to JSO dispatch regarding hostilities from bystanders and requested enforcement of hunter harassment. The JSO officers' body camera footage supports that my call was assigned to these officers as related to their call, but they refused to enforce hunter harassment. Body camera footage can be viewed related to the relevant call number.
I do plan to share another video with the outcome of this complaint, so if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe.